Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for checking out this video here on Shows, Style, and Spirit. I am Ebony, and I want to talk about Kimmy Scott's shameful stance, her allowing her son Jaylin to feel away by not checking the behavior of her husband Maurice. And Jaylin is going to break it all down. Now, before we talk about this serious situation, I ask that you please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. And everything that I'm saying in this video is alleged and just my opinion. And the Copyright Act of 1976 says that my fair use commentary on these sound bites are allowed. So, as you can see, there is a scene involving Jaylin and Maurice Scott from Love and Marriage Huntsville. They are at a pool hall together. And Jaylin is going to speak his heart. He's going to talk about how over the years he felt like Maurice was definitely more harsh, harder on Jaylin than Monster. And I actually think Maurice just wanted to discuss with Jaylin the potential family business that he can tell Jaylin is not interested in. And I think that he was really trying to get him on that type of time. So let's go ahead and listen to this clip, and then I'll be back with more commentary.
How you been doing, man?
Hey, man, chilling, working.
That's what's
Just
up.
working, trying to get this rental property going on the side as well.
How's it coming?
It's coming along good. We got stuck with the HVAC. And so now I got somebody putting in the HVAC today. I'm actually supposed to be meeting up with them.
How's the transition going? I know that you were talking about getting into cyber.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
You know, I'm doing IT work now,
Uh-huh.
IT specialist, but I've been, applying to a bunch of different jobs, and one job actually reached back and said they wanted to do an interview, and the job is actually in Colorado.
Yeah, Kimmy was telling me about it. She was like that you're really considering leaving.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of want something a little new. I've been here my whole life. Been here with my mom my whole life, so trying to figure out I don't know, a new path.
And you feel like leaving helps you do that?
I don't know. I'm trying to figure out what's going to help. Like, honestly,
figuring yourself out, that's important too. I was even thinking about because I talked to Kimmy about the family business. What was your thoughts about that?
I was a little hesitant. I was a little hesitant just because I feel like I've come to know the Scotts.
What does that mean, man? What does that mean?
Both of y'all's tendencies are, especially like towards me, is just like, hey, look, get out there and figure it out. Everybody has their hands in, or is it going to be like Maurice at the top, pointing to us, talking about, hey, look, handle this. I need you to pick Monster up, take him here so he can do this. Take him here so he can do that. I don't think y'all give, well, not y'all, you give Monster the same leash, or not leash. I can't.
I know what you're saying. Like
the leniency.
Yeah.
Growing up, when me and him were both in the house, you would always come ask me to do stuff, and I'm sitting here like, your son's sitting right in there playing the video game just like I am. Like, I mean, I didn't really like that, too much.
You parent each child differently. Did it work? And right now, it seems like it worked. Did you feel a difference in love? Like I love Monster more or differently than you?
Well, I mean, of course, he's your son. I'm not your actual son.
You're not?
No, I'm saying I am, but you would have more love for your actual flesh and blood.
This is the thing. When Kimmy told me that you said that Marcel was more of a father figure than I was, at first it's like a kick in the stomach. Then you start thinking about like, dang man, as a parent, the whole time you're like, okay, if being too hard doesn't work, you want to loosen up some. Your formative years, parents they're busy trying to make sure they get it right because they always want their children to do better than them. Where did I fail?
You did help me, like, change the first toilet, change the first dishwasher, change first tire. And so I'm forever grateful for stuff like that. But you were more like a mentor to me. But as I got older, when I started working with Marcel, I kind of gravitated more for the father figure aspect. It wasn't mainly like you per se. It was definitely me trying to, hide myself and not trying to, I guess get hopes up. You were with my mom. I just chose not to, I guess, in a way, not to gravitate towards you because I didn't want to get, I guess, attached. Disappointed if it didn't work out.
This is the thing about children that you marry into and decide to be a parent to. They're actually your kid by choice.
Yeah.
Right? You actually choose that relationship. You choose that situation.
Yeah, you choose that situation, Maurice. But just because you're willing to date and marry someone with kids does not give you a license to be a dick to them. And Jaylin, in my opinion, he comes off very easygoing. He doesn't seem like he has a very quick temper. He doesn't seem like he loses his cool easily and lacks self control. He seems like he's kind of calm and he may hold stuff in a lot. And Maurice, I think Maurice is able to pick out people's flaws, weaknesses that he can use against them to control. I think he's a big control freak. 100%. I think it goes much deeper than like potential chauvinism. And it's just my opinion, Maurice. I'm not saying anything that's definitive of you. It's just my opinion based upon your sound bites that you've presented on television. He comes off very controlling. And if he sees that a person is more easygoing, not very confrontational, respectful even, then he's going to take advantage of that. And I think that's what happened with Jaylin. I think that Jaylin knew that his mom really liked this guy. Jaylin, according to Kimmy, which she said on the Carlos King show, Jaylin's dad was not in love with her. It was giving friends with benefits, and then they conceived a baby, and he wasn't involved. Jaylin was probably hoping at some point maybe Maurice would treat him more nicer. He was probably hoping to really have a stepdad. And then that didn't happen. And then now Maurice is expecting him to go into business with him. And I'm guessing he would expect Jaylin to put some money towards the new family business, whatever it's going to be. I don't know what that's going to be. If they're going to renovate houses or if it's something completely different from real estate, I have no idea. But I bet he would tell Jaylin, as part of the family business, we are each owners. So I expect you to put some money in the business that we can use towards advertising on the radio or to buy equipment or to, for any other expenses. And Jaylin probably just doesn't want to put his money and time and effort into something that Maurice would be controlling based upon how he treats him. And I think that that is very smart. And Maurice was trying to poke holes in Jaylin's openness to moving out of state. You can tell that they are not close. They do not talk regularly. For Jaylin to have to say to him, you know, I work in IT as an IT specialist. You would have thought Jaylin just graduated in May, 3 months ago, and he's been applying to jobs and he's gotten a job and it's in IT. You would have never thought that this guy graduated. It was probably like 5 years ago when he graduated. Remember when it was when his graduation dinner was at a restaurant and Martell and Wanda got into it in the parking lot? That's been 5 years because I remember people were wearing the mask and stuff while they were filming. I think Melody had on like a pretty like sequin mask and yeah, like a wavy, like a deep wave hair. It was so pretty. I think that was Jaylin's graduation dinner. And so that would have been 5 years ago. And you can tell like Maurice has no clue what direction this young man wants to go in for his career. So he must be about 27. I think that if Jaylin moves away, this will be a very special experience for him. He's talking about a possible job in Colorado. That's definitely a culture shock. When I think of like Black people in Colorado, I think of like the NBA players for the Denver Nuggets, like the singer India Irie, her dad, he was a Denver Nugget. I think of the actress Pam Grier. And so, but I know that Colorado is very beautiful, like almost like Appalachian mountains. So I think it'll be a very unique experience for Jaylin. And Maurice is like trying to discourage him. He should be saying, spread your wings and fly, dude. And if it doesn't work out, we'll always be here for you in Alabama because we love you. But he didn't say nothing about that. They made small talk about some rental property that Jaylin was working on. And it just really showed that they're not very close. He's not Jaylin's stepdad. He is married to Jaylin's mom, point blank, period. And it does get even worse. We have another soundbite where Marceau definitely is going to empathize with how Jaylin feels. But I'm glad that Jaylin spoke up for himself and said that he was hesitant about going into the family business based upon how Maurice has treated him. I am disturbed by the way that Maurice never seems to say, you know what, I was wrong. In his confessional, he said that you parent children differently, based on what they need. And, from what I can see, it worked. Well, Maurice, the fact that Jaylin seems to be like a good young man, doesn't get into trouble, college educated, I would say that's got to be due to Kimmy's raising him and Kimmy's side of the family encouraging him. I would imagine, because I remember when they got married season 1, it was stated that they had been together for 7 years. They started filming season 1 in 2018. So if you back up 7 years, that's 2011, 14 years ago. So if he's 27, he met Maurice when he was 13. So most of the child rearing Kimmy had already done on her own. But unfortunately, his teen years, he had to deal with the controlling nature of Maurice. But he went to college. If you've ever grown up in a strict home, when you go to college and you live in those dorms, you can kind of take a breather. It's kind of like you can exhale because you kind of have like your own crib now living in the dorm. So I imagine that is how Jaylin felt. But let's go ahead and move on to this conversation here, where it's mainly between Marceau and Maurice about Jaylin. Now, I want to say Marceau has Tisha trained because she was talking in the beginning, but once she realized Marceau had something serious to say about Jaylin, she like shut up and like didn't chime back in. So he's like got her trained where she totally gets it. But let's just get into what Marceau has to say about Jaylin and this so-called family business.
How them kids doing? MJ just got National Honor Society information. I know, I was so proud.
That's my little honey.
He's almost now I can update my application with Michigan. I said, you sure can update all the applications.
Has it not heard from Michigan yet?
No, girl, it got pushed back.
There's a shoe in it.
I believe because of everything that's dealing with the whole DEI situation. I feel like that's
really.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Just merit-based, ain't it? Well, first of all, he's merit-based, but everybody wants that. DEI is just an idea to say, oh, the Negroes are ruining the country. And personally, I don't care if they think that. They cannot accept anybody to anything in the world. That's why we even started to come back through.
That's true.
Because we don't need that. We don't need acceptance. And if you think you can go it alone, go it alone.
It's working the system so that we can provide those things for people instead of having to depend on the government to provide.
That's bottom line. So, Jaylin came by the office the other day. And I was walking with him, and we were talking about construction.
Yeah, she felt.
He did not ask me for help. He asked me for contractors. I know this guy and stuff like that. But he knows. But our relationship is different.
I look at you like a father figure. So, what do you consider Reese? I consider him more like a big brother. The other part of it is me and Monster are treated a little bit differently. Monster, he just can do no wrong.
He's like, he knows that I'm in this business. I mean, he used to work at Scope.
No, his relationship is different because he thinks of you like a dad.
No, Maurice, he
had this conversation with me, by the way.
He didn't say I think of you as a dad.
He said a father figure.
He said he's a father figure.
Yeah, but I'm saying, well, father figure is kind of like a dad, right?
I think a father figure is a little different than a dad. At the end of the day, it's kind of a little concerned. He was talking about you guys working together.
Yeah. We were talking about a family business.
Who's we?
Me, Kimmy. I wanted Jaylin and Monster in there too.
Yeah, the Jaylin and Monster thing.
Yeah, that's what you're talking about. Is concerning.
That, yeah, a little bit.
I'm not sure why Marcel was bringing up this whole, family business and Jaylin and those concerns, considering that I talked to Jaylin and I think we had a pretty good conversation. He kind of knows where I stand. Jaylin was like, he felt like I was harder on him than I am on Monster. I'm not treating you differently because you're a child that I chose to father, right? I'm saying that at the end of the day, Jaylin, I'm treating you differently because the way we grew up, it was like the older kids were like next in line as far as parents are concerned. And we also know younger siblings, they look up to the older siblings. So, of course, I'm going to treat you differently than I treat Monster as he's coming along. Growing up, there was a hierarchy in our family, and it meant something that your older brothers or older sisters, they were like the parents when the parents were gone. And there's a level of expectation that you get from that next level. I think that Jaylin was an excellently raised child. You don't give correction until correction is needed. So if I'm giving Jaylin correction, that's probably when he's feeling like, you know what, now he's coming down on me or whatever.
Maurice and I have had these conversations. I felt like he treated Jaylin different too. And I told him that before Monster ever even got here. I said, let's see when Monster gets here if you're going to do this same kind of thing. Because he seemed harder on him. And I think when you're blending a family, when you're getting to know each other, I think that was hard for Jaylin. I mean, I think people gravitate to people that they feel like they like them. And I think that he felt like Marcel actually liked him more. He talked to him. He didn't seem like he was always getting in trouble or fussed at
Jaylin,
or something.
Reese, if you're going to start your sentence off after we say something, but I think that you're defending your position.
No, you didn't even hear what I said.
I know, but you started off with but.
Okay, what was I going to say?
I don't know what you're going to say, but I'm going to say is that it's hard enough as it is to talk to you sometimes. I'm delivering information to you. I think that is concerning, right? Because I know you don't want this. I grew up with the golden child, and Jaylin sees Monster as the golden child 2.0.
Dang.
So I understand it.
I don't even know where you're getting this from.
That's what
you sound like Chris Fletcher.
You sound pathetic.
You know what you do? You better tell me the truth. What, you been lying? Oh, yeah, you do lie. It's all the
Okay, so I want to talk about some things that were kind of stood out, some things that Kimmy said. But before I do, I just want to say briefly with them talking about DEI and them guessing that that's why MJ hadn't heard back from the University of Michigan. I have been thinking about the younger Black kids trying to go to college. And, if folks want to hate on you and think that they're holding you back, then they'll try to say, well, DEI is how you all got in before, but now we're going to say, now you don't qualify. One answer is the Black colleges and universities. That's why they exist today. And I know that it was white people who helped find those institutions, but ultimately the idea was for a place for Black people to pursue higher education, especially if the society that we are living in don't want to F with us, then we create our own. So that is like a solution. But Marceau was saying that that is why they all created the comeback group to begin with, so that they could provide resources and help people improve their lives without them having to depend on the government. So I thought that that was some interesting conversation. Now, Maurice, in my opinion, he gets defensive once Marceau brings Jaylin up for obvious reasons. Maurice must be a little jealous that Jaylin sees Marceau and not him as a father figure. Maurice even tried to blame his harsh treatment with Jaylin on age, the fact that Jaylin is older. Now, I will say this, Jaylin, I have felt like in seasons past, watching Maurice in scenes with Monster, I thought he was an asshole to Monster as well. Just last season, he kept saying to him, like, you need a scholarship, you need a scholarship. So he was making Monster do all of this like sports training in the backyard. And he kept saying again, again. And Monster's like, again, like it was clear that Monster was a little physically exerted, and mentally he was over the whole thing. He didn't want to do it. So I think I'm not trying to invalidate Jaylin's experience, but I think he was a butthole to both of them. But even more so because his mama, Kimmy, is going to say in this scene that she felt like he was harsh on Jaylin too. Maurice said that, Jaylin was excellently raised. And the only time I ever said anything to him was if I felt like some correction was needed. Excuse me. And did he have, no shade, but did he have that much experience anyway? When Monster was up here in Michigan and he was down in Alabama, once you got a woman and she was, Kimmy was ready to get married, then okay, I'll marry you, but Monster has to come down here. I'm wondering, was that a business transaction? Kimmy gets to plan the beautiful wedding and be married and say that she has a husband, but Monster comes down and lives with them. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a business transaction. And women, we have to let that go, because your obsession over planning the wedding and having the ceremony that's maybe 45 minutes or closer to 30, and then you go and have the expensive dinner with people that you hardly see. You'll hardly see each other at family reunions, but they show up because they want to eat those expensive dinners and eat the cake and do the Cupid shuffle. You pay all that money just so you can say that you plan that ceremony, and it could just be to the wrong person altogether. And I'm not saying that Kimmy is married to the wrong person. I'm just speaking in general now. But Kimmy said that she talked to Maurice about Jaylin before Monster moved down to Alabama. So hold up, Kimmy. If you have known, because remember, season 1, we learned that they had been together for 7 years when they got married. And no telling how long they've been living together as well. I'm guessing, at least 6 of those, no more than 6 of those years. maybe like 4 to 6 years of living together. So you knew what time it was with how he treated Jaylin. How did you bring yourself to marrying him, and you knew everything that was to come? The little boy was going to come down and move. You saw how he treated your son and you did not like it. I couldn't do it. I had this conversation with my friend Corey. um I sent her this clip in the DMs, and I was like, what are your thoughts? Like, how could you deal with a man who you see with your own eyes being harsh with your son? And she's like, no, it would be over. There's no way that I could do that. I was like, okay, thank you. I'm wondering, because those were my thoughts. And I feel like Kimmy self betrays. I have made videos about this before. It is a sad sight to see. It seems like it's much deeper than Kimmy just holding back. I feel like she dumbs herself down. She holds her opinions. I'm sure she has better ideas, better solutions to challenges, but she holds it in so that Maurice can feel like the man. And not only like to put up with how he treats Jaylin, that's not only self-betrayal, but just in my opinion, Kimmy, that's betrayal to Jaylin. I just think that's going too far in the name of a romantic relationship. And it just seems like it's just all about him. We all know what time it was when she was seriously ill. Super scary situation. And it was all about her still trying to have sex with him while she fights for her life. The most trifling storyline ever in reality TV. And it was just self-betrayal at its worst. And it was kind of depressing to watch, disappointing to watch, embarrassing to watch as a woman. To me, when she found out that news and that they were sitting, it looked like that was their family room or their basement, and she was talking about, how she found the lumps, and she was crying. Once it was confirmed, like her storyline, she should have been like that movie that's based off the book Eat, Pray, Love, that Julia Roberts movie. Her storyline should have been like, I'm going to Bali, I'm going to Italy, all over the world. Like when Portia came out as being in love with Simon in late spring 2021, and that whole summer, every week, Portia and Simon were on a different island. That should have been Kimmy. But instead, it was about, bend over and take it. He embarrassed her. And then after that, he filmed a scene with his brother where he was buying her the Jeep, the Rubicon. And Marceau said, oh, so her hair can be blowing in the wind. And Maurice says she doesn't have any hair. And, that's why we get, now in this scene, she is wearing a unit. But in a lot of scenes now, even where she interviewed on the Morning Hustle, she was wearing her hair because she feels like she has to prove that she has some hair because her husband embarrassed her about it. And I can't get with the self-betrayal. It is really tough to witness. She just seems like a shell of a person, and not physically, but emotionally and mentally. And I get it, Kimmy, you want a companion. You want that part of your personal life to flourish. I get it. But, I still got me, myself, and I. And I will be damned if I settle or take shorts in the name of just saying that I have someone. I can't do it. But what do you all think? Like, if you have a child and your significant other is really harsh on them, and they have a kid and they're treating their kid significantly better than your child, how are you handling that? And are you exchanging vows? I think that him saying that he saw the brother Marceau as a father figure, very telling, very telling. And it's really sad. I thank you all so much for checking out this video. Please hit the like button on this video and please subscribe to the channel. I hope that you all had a terrific Tuesday. I did. I can't complain. I'm thankful each day to make it through the work day. And, I think that showing gratitude, it really helps. Sometimes I do want to complain or throw something, right? But if you can tell yourself like, all my needs are met. I'm healthy. I'm able to bathe and clothe myself with ease. I can prepare my own meals. I perform well on the job because I'm in my right mind and I have a job. You're doing great. And that's just the truth. So I hope that you all have a wonderful Wednesday. I cannot believe it's going to already be Wednesday. And before you know it, the weekend will be here again. And I will talk with you all soon. Bye.